Hello, can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we'll wait for maybe 2 more minutes just so people can start coming in and join the class. So yeah. All right. Okay. I'll just start now. So for the people who came last class or who in last class, welcome back to class 2. And for the people who are new, I'm Sanjib Sharma, and I'll be your Java instructor for the next 7 weeks. So let's get started here. Let me share my screen real quick. All right. Can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Okay. All right. So before I actually start, there are things I want to address. So last class, a lot of people were asking how to connect Sublime text to the command line, and I actually created a tutorial for that last Wednesday. So I hope you guys saw that. For the people who need help, let me show you. All right. Yeah. See. So I made a video tutorial. So if you click on this link, it will take you to the tutorial. And one thing to note is that this only works for Windows. This is like what I use since I have a Windows laptop. So if you have a Mac and you want how to do the same thing, then just search it up. There are plenty of tutorials online. All right. So let's actually get started here now. All right. So the first thing I want to go over is homework from last week. So, okay, I'm getting a message. Give me a sec. Oh my. Yeah, so as I said, it works differently for a Mac. I said that like 10 seconds ago. So just search up a separate tutorial for a Mac specifically and you'll find. So yeah, unfortunately I can't really create one for Mac because I don't have a Mac laptop. The code only compiles for Mac but doesn't run it. Did it compile successfully for you?
Yeah, I found like a different tutorial.
Oh, okay. And did it work for you?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So if you could maybe put it in the chat, then that would
Okay,
be.
sure.
All right, yeah, thank you. Okay. Yeah. All right. All right. So as I was mentioning before, let's go over homework from last week. So right here, So the homework was basically to declare and initialize 5 variables and to basically use those variables in order to create like a short story or a few sentences about yourself. So this is mine. Over here, I created a string name. And I'm only going to spend 5 minutes on this because we have stuff to talk about today. So I created a string name, and it's just my name, Sanchip Sharma. My age, in age 16, programming years, number of years I've been programming, 8 years, which is 8. High school graduate, double is 1.2. So the number of years I graduate is 1.2 years, and then the year that I graduate in an int called graduate year 2021. And so I basically used a bunch of print statements in order to create a story. So if I run it, right there, I hope you can see this, right? Hello, somebody?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, thanks. All right. So over here it says, hello, my name is Sarah, and I'm 16 years old. I've been programming for 8 years. In 1.2 years, I will graduate high school in the class of 2021. So that's basically what I did. And yeah, you guys did it or at least tried it out. Again, I'm not going to check it. So yeah. So let's move on to the actual lesson now. So, all right, so let's go here. Okay, I'm getting some more things in the chat. Okay, class tutorial. Oh, that's a tutorial. Okay, okay. All right, so now let's I created a file called class. So now let me declare a class called class2. Class 2. Again, class name has to be the exact same name as the file name. If not, it will throw an error, as I said last time. So now time to define a main method. Public string arbs. Oh, what? Oops. Okay, so what I want to do for maybe like 5 to 10 minutes, so I just want to briefly go over what we did last class. So like for the people who weren't here last class, it's kind of for them. I'm not going to spend a lot of time because it's material, but I'll spend a little bit of time. So let's start off with print statements. So again, system.out.println. This is the command you use to print statements, and then whatever you want to print out, you put it in the double quotes. So just say 5. And then you can have multiple print statements, system.out.println. I like cookies. If you run this, class 2. Java class. Yeah, and right here it prints both those print statements, hi, and then I like cookies. And of course, as we discussed last class, there are 2 different ways to print out statements. So there's print and there's println. So let me go over the difference real quick. So system.out.print. Also, don't forget to add semicolons. It's really important in Java. Let's do another one, system.out.println. I like stream. So essentially, the difference between println is that in print, for println, it basically like adds another line after it prints out the statement. So for example, let's take this statement right here. I like ice cream. What it will do is that it will print out I like ice cream, and then it will go to the next line. For print, it simply stays on the same line. So it's not gonna like move one line down. So let me show you. So this should print I like cake and I like ice cream on the same line. So let's see what it does. Okay. Java C. Right. I like cake, and then on the same line, I like ice cream. So yeah. Now let's move to variables. So last class we talked about integer, double, and string, specifically these 3. So let me briefly go over that. And for a variable, you need to initialize or declare it and then initialize it to a value. So let's enter value int x is equal to 5. Now let's create a double y is equal to 4.7. An integer is either a negative or positive number. It has to be a whole number, no decimals, just a number, either negative or positive. However, it can also be negative or positive, but it has to be a decimal number. So in this case, I create a variable called double y is equal to 4.7. Okay, let's create another variable called string called z. Just variable, just make it my name. So yeah. Again, this is how you initialize and declare a variable. And also, last class we learned how to print out variables. So we can do this through a simple print statement. So system.out.
Are you string capitalized?
What's that?
Why is string capitalized?
Oh, why is it capitalized? So there's actually a pretty specific reason. So it's because string is actually like a main class in Java. So we're actually going to go into this today, and there are actually different functions of string, such as substring, length, and we'll go over this later on today. But basically, all that you need to know that you can't have string cannot be lowercase. So if I do this, it'll print. Let me show you real quick. See right there, it gives out an error. Oh wait, that's fine. Now let me run it. Yeah, right there. See, it says string. Yeah, it says like it cannot find this. It needs to be capitalized. So just remember that. Yes. So I was saying that we can print out variables. So if I say this is x, then x, we use the plus sign, which is concatenation again, in order to print out a statement and then a variable afterwards. So if I print this out, then compile, and then run it, then right here, this is x5. And yeah, so I could do this for the other ones too, for y and z. I'm not gonna, it's practically the same thing. So yeah. And last class also learn about mathematical operators and how you can use them with variables. So I'm not gonna go too much into detail because it's very simple. It's just addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. I'm pretty sure you guys all know that. It's pretty basic stuff. But I'm gonna use one example. So let's do let's create another int num1 to 8, and then int num2 equal to 1. And so you can do int num is equal to num1 plus num2. Then again, you could print out some system.out.println. So yeah, and it will basically just print out 9 because 8 plus 1 is 9. So yep, there we go. At the very bottom, 9. And yeah, you could do the same thing for, you could do subtraction, multiplication, or division. But I'm just gonna use I'm not gonna show you that because we just changed the sign essentially. So yeah. All right. So yeah, that's what we did last class for the people who are new. Pretty basic stuff. And also, by the way, guys, if you weren't here last class, or if you wanna like review what we did last class, the YouTube video is actually posted on this right here. It's the third one, I think. Yeah, this third one right here. If you click on that link, it will go to the first class. So yeah, if you guys were just wondering. All right, so I'm gonna get rid of this. Oops. I'm gonna get rid of this stuff, and we're gonna start with the stuff that we're gonna learn today. All right, so the first thing that we're gonna learn today is camel casing. So let me write this down. Camel casing. Yeah, it's a pretty weird name, but essentially it's related to declaring and initializing a variable. So just like the name, you know how when you initialize a variable, initialize one real quick, declare int x, int x is equal to 16, and 16 in this case represents my a, right? So basically, what camel casing does is it's a pretty helpful thing to do, especially in the future when you code. So I want this variable to represent my age, right? And the name of the variable is X, but like there's no real relationship between X and 16. So essentially what camel casing is making the name a more relatable name and also adding an uppercase in the middle of the name. So let me show you an example. So my age. So see, you can notice here that there's a capital letter in the middle of the variable, and that's why it's called camel casing, by the way, because camels have like a hump, right? So essentially the capitalized letter is used to represent that hump, and I can't be weird, but yeah. So if you guys were wondering, and yeah, so this is helpful, especially if you're writing a code and you're giving it to somebody else and they want to know what each variable was. It's just pretty helpful in general, because if you name it like X or something, then people wouldn't know that it represents, your age in this case. And yeah, so same thing applies, string my name to Sandra Sharma, right? If I make this like Y, then there's like no relation. So that's why it's really important. And of course, it doesn't really matter what the name is at the end of the day, though, because it can name and it'll work. But camel casing is helpful. It's useful. And in the homework, I also use camel casing. If you didn't notice, see programming years, high school graduate. There's a capital letter in the middle. So yeah, that's camel casing. So let's move on to the next topic. It's pretty straightforward. Yeah. So now let's talk about reassigning variables. An integer variable right here. So int num is equal to let's make it 5. And essentially, when you you can reinitialize a variable. So you get a variable num which is assigned to 5. Now num doesn't always have to equal 5. You could always change the value of num. So in order to do this, so if I want to change num, for example, to maybe um 7. So if I change it to if you want to change it to 7, you just do num is equal to 7. There you go. And you may notice that I don't have int in front of it or the data type like integer, and that's because I already declared a variable num over here. So if I already declared the variable num, there's no need to declare it again. So, and in fact, it will even throw an error. Int, if I put an int in front of it, it will actually throw an error because there are two of the exact same variables. So let me show you right here. Oops. Uh, 1 sec. Right. Yeah. Okay, so if I do this, see right here, it will throw an error because it says variable num is all in the method made. So, why is this thing keep on coming? All right. So as I was saying before, you don't need to declare the variable. So let me show you how it works. So if I print right here, before I change the value of num, if I print the statement at the after I reinitialize it, this print statement should output 5, while this one should output 7, because I changed the value of num in this statement. So let me show you. Let me clear the screen real quick. Yeah. So I compile it and run it right here. See, I added print. Oops. Print ln. Try that again. Right there. See, first time it prints 5, and then it prints 7. So that's reinitializing, and you could do this for any thing for double. If I make it a double, so make this 5.2, and I could make this. Oh, oops, why did I do in double? Double num is equal to 5.2. Then same thing, num is equal to 7.5. Then again, it's about 5.2 first, and then change it to 7.5. So right there, 5.2, 7.5. that's pretty much what reinitializing is, reassigning variables. So yeah, all right, so the next thing I want to go over is incrementing and decrementing. So let me add this, incrementing. So essentially, so what incrementing means is that it means basically adding. Okay, I see some things in the chat. Is it why are strings got? Oh, I already answered that. How about Booleans? Yes, we will talk about Booleans in maybe 10 minutes after this. And yeah, so just wait. Yeah, we'll get to that. All right. So anyway, incrementing and decrementing. So incrementing means it's basically addition. So if you have a variable, for example, int y is equal to 5, then we can increment it by a certain number to make a different number. So if I want to increment the variable y, which is 5, by 1, then we'll print out 6. So let me show you an example. Okay. And oh yeah, and also for incrementing and decrementing, let me show you. There are a few operators that are used. So there's plus equals. First one is plus equals, minus equals, times equals, divided by equals. So I'm going to use these operators right now in an example. Hold on. All right. Yeah. So let's create a variable. Let's create a variable called int num. Yeah. Anyway, let's just make it int number is equal to 8. So essentially what I was saying, if you want to increment it, then you use plus equals. So if you want to increase it by you use plus equals. So right now it's 8, right? So if I do number plus equals to 4. So essentially this is saying, so basically number plus equals to 4 is equivalent to number is equal to number plus. And if we look at what number is assigned to, it's assigned to the value of 8, right? So it's basically saying 8, so number is equal to 8 plus 4, which is 12. So if we print out for this, then it should print out 12 because 8 plus 4 is 12. So let me show you. CLS. Right here. See, it prints out 12. And let's move to the next one. And also, it could be any number. I can make it like, I don't know, some big number. Let's make it whatever, 67,000. Same thing. It'll print out that number right there. So it could be any number. Or you could even make this a variable. So if I create a variable int second is equal to 4, or let's make it 2. And I could do number is equals to second. That will print out 10. So I'll show you, because second is equal to 2, and number is 8, and 8 plus 2 is 10. Right there, 10. Pretty straightforward stuff. All right, so let me move on to minus equals. So minus equals times divided by equals. It's the exact same concept. The only difference is it's either subtracting or dividing. So if I do minus equals, the number is 8, so minus second, which is 2, that should print out 6, because 2 is 6. So, oh, whoops, I didn't compile it. Yeah, 6 right there. And same thing for divided by, or for multiplying. So so according to this, it should print out 8 times 2, which is 16. So let's see. 16. And then finally, divided by equals. Just a slash equals. That should print out 4. Compile it. Run it. And 4 right there. Let me open the chat real quick. Can you do divide by equals to 5? Yeah, exactly. It could be any number. So let me show you. So if I replace it by 5, as you were saying, which is 8 divided by 5, and it will print out, remember last class we talked about integer division, so it's not going to print out a decimal value, but rather an integer. So it rounds down. So let's see what it prints out. Let me clear screen real quick. Oh, oops. Okay, so let's try this again. Right there, see, it prints out 1. So yeah, you could question, it can be any number. Could be like a huge number, digits, or it could be one number, you know, or one digit. And if you wanted to give you the actual decimal value again, you can change this to double and it'll give you the actual value. So yeah. Okay. So yeah, those are the operators I want to go over for incrementing and decrementing. So now there's another operator that we'll go over today, and that's called modulus or mod. So let's create a mod, and it is represented using a percentage sign. Let me put that in quotes. Yeah, percentage sign. And let me show you an example, and then I will explain to you what it does. Let me comment this. Oops. I'm gonna comment all of this. Okay. So let me create an integer called num equal to 10. Then we do int num2 or num1 is equal to 9. So essentially, if we wait, hold on, and then int mod is equal to num percentage num1. Okay, so essentially what modulus or the percentage sign does is it divides these two numbers and then it finds the remainder. So that's what it does. So it will divide 10 and 9, so 10 divided by 9, and it will print out whatever the remainder is. So in this case, it should print out 1. So let's see. Oh, I didn't add a print statement. Whoops. So if I do system.out.plen, then mod, and now it should print out right there. Prints out 1 at the very side. So yeah, and again, you can use any number. Just remember that it's for calculating the remainder. So it divides and then finds the remainder. So that's mod. Pretty simple stuff. Okay. So now I want to go over new variables. So new types. So as somebody mentioned before, somebody was asking about Boolean. So yeah, that's what we're gonna go over now. So we're gonna learn 2 different types of types. So there's Boolean, and then there's also char, char. And I'll go over char later, but let's start off with bool. So Boolean is essentially just, okay, well, there's somebody typing. One sec. So wait, what's so? No, mod is not subtraction. It's finding the remainder. Yeah. So let me show you the example again. Yeah. Yeah, it's just remainder. Yeah. So if you do 10 mod 9, it'll print out 1 because that's the remainder of the 2. Yeah, I think I used a example because 10 like minus 9 is also 1. So let me change up the value. Sorry. So let's make it 20, 25 or something. Make it 3. So CLS, Java C, Java. Then it'll print out 1. Yeah. The value of did I? Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. So Boolean and char. Let's go over this thing. So okay, so as I was saying, Boolean is either true or false. So there are only 2 values and it's true or false. So if declaring an assignment the same way, Boolean is the type that you want to specify at the beginning when you're a variable. And I could say val for value is equal to, let's just make it true. So yeah, or it could, let's see, or you could assign it to false. Boolean other val equal to false. Boolean is that you can only assign it to true or false. It can't be anything. So I can't be like Boolean v is equal to like 12. That's not gonna work because it's not a Boolean. It needs to be, that's an integer. So if you change the int, then it will work. But see, if I try to run this, it will print out an error right there. See, incompatible types because it's an integer, not a Boolean. So yeah. And there's one error that is that I want to talk about relating to Boolean, the exclamation sign. So what the exclamation sign does is that it finds the opposite value. So for example, let's take this example. So val, this variable called val, it's true, right? So if I say exclamation sign val, that means not val or not true, which makes it false. So it's basically just the opposite. And same thing goes for the other val variable, right? If I put an exclamation mark in front of other val, it will come true since other val is false right now. So let me show you. Let's create another one. Boolean new val is equal to exclamation mark or and then val. So if we're gonna print out system dot out dot print ln new val. And so based on what I just said, it should print out false. So let's see. Let me run this. Oh, whoops. Compile it first, then run it. Right there, false. So yeah, just keep in mind, exclamation mark is the opposite or. So yeah, just essentially just prints out the opposite value. It's pretty simple. Same thing for if you do not other val, then it should print out true since other val started off false, and the opposite false is true. So if I compile it, it'll print out true right there. Yeah. I wanted to talk about for Boolean. And so now let's move on to char. So what char stands for is characters. Oh, and I got something in the chat. Oh, yeah. So it says wait, I think for the quotations for the system.out.println. So I talked about this last class. So if it's a variable name, then you don't need to add double quotations. So right here, I'm putting a new val into the print statement. Right? And new val over here is a variable that I assigned and declared. So really needed. But if I put it in double quotes as you're saying, then it won't print out like the. It will instead print out like new val. Like it will actually print out new val. So we run it. Oops. Okay. So Java. Yeah. So it will actually print out new val rather than the statement. So I hope that makes a little bit sense. Somebody's asking, do single quotes work instead of double quotes? No, it doesn't. Yeah, you need double quotes for print statements. Yeah. Yeah, somebody else also confirmed that. So yeah. All right. Okay, so let's get rid of these double quotes. All right, so what was I saying? Okay, so char, characters. So what the char stands for characters. So let me assign a char variable. Let's say char character is equal to we'll just say s. So a few things that I want to talk about relating to char. So first thing is whatever you assign char to, it has to be in single quotes this time. So the reason it doesn't work for like double quotes is because double quotes, it represents a string. Remember when we assign a string, then you double quotes. But for a character or char, you need single quotes. It won't work. You could try it if you want. It will throw an error. And another thing to keep in mind is that it needs to be only one character. So for example, let me show you real quick. So if I print out if I print out is character, then I print out it will print out S, right? So let me show you. And let me comment this out just to make it more clear for you guys. Compile it, then run. Yeah. So we'll print out this character and then S, whatever I put in these single quotes. So as I was saying before, if you add, it has to be one character. So if I add like an A, then it's C right here, throws an error. So yeah. Oh, give me 1 second. Character only. So keep that S, and it could be any character. It doesn't have to be a letter. It could. It doesn't matter. So it could be value 3. But yeah. So let me show you CLS and compile it. Symbol such as like a $sign. That will work as well. $sign. As long as it's one character, anything will work. And it's in single quotes. Only then will it work. So yeah. And yeah. And by the way, the reason it works for like a number, single quotes defines a character. If there's no single quotes, then it will throw an error. But the single quotes is all right. So I'm gonna use this as a checkpoint, sort of, or you could simply just type in the chat. So yeah. Somebody said, can I repeat what I said? So I said so I'm waiting. This is gonna be like a checkpoint. So if anybody has any, ask your question, or you could just type in the chat. And I said I'm gonna be able to hear me properly, or oh, it is.
Yeah, like sometimes some audio is left out.
Yeah, sometimes we can't like hear you.
I see. Okay. It's not that bad, right? Like you guys can still hear me.
When
Yeah.
you explain about characters, I missed half of it because of the audio problem. And when you explain about something, you just
Yeah. Sorry about that. I don't really know why. Okay. Anyway. A character. So using the word char. Wait, there's some more stuff in the chat. Give me one. And go to this table right here, the third link right here. Lead to our first class. Yeah, and someone, yeah. Okay, so let me go back to characters. Okay. And it has the type of char, and I assigned it to know about when you're using char. So first of all, it needs to have single quotes. Without single quotes, double quotes. Oh, I'm getting a lot of messages. Hold on, 1 sec. Wait, I'm breaking a lot. I am. Oh, me again. Yeah. All right. So let me continue. Okay. So character. So you need single quotes for a character for it to work. No double quotes because if I add something else, like if I add $sign and then A, it's not gonna work. So you need only one character, and this could be anything like A, or it could be capital X. It could assign it to a specific data type. So yeah. All good. All right, sweet. Okay. Okay. We talked about, or should I move on?
You can move.
And so now, what I'm gonna bring up again is string. How isn't some other in the chat? Okay. All right. So now I'm gonna. So okay, there's someone in the chat. I'm breaking too much. Am I? Okay. Shoot, is it fine now? Okay. Yeah, I don't really know. If I leave the call, then I will, like I'm the host right now, right? So I think if I leave, then I will like not be the host, and then I won't be able to share my screen. So that's why that's what I'm kind of concerned about. So yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna continue. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So yeah, as somebody mentioned, it'll be on YouTube, I guess, so you guys can like watch it from there. So don't worry too much about it right now. All right. So anyway, so we're gonna talk about a few string functions. So we're gonna be talking about dot substring, and we're gonna be talking about dot index of and dot length. So these are the three functions. Oh yeah, and there has to be parentheses, sure these, yeah. So we're going to be talking about these 3 functions. So let me start off with, let's start off with length because that's the easiest one. So let me declare and initialize a string variable. So string str is equal to, let's just say my name, Sandra Sharma. Or actually, let's just make it, we'll just make it my name. Okay, so essentially what .length does is that it's pretty self-explanatory. It just finds the length of a string. So let's take this string str, which is my name. So let's separate. So it's S A N T R I P T. So essentially, like for length, what you do is like you literally just count, right? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if I do str.length, it will print out the value of 8. So let me show you. So if I create another variable int length of name, then that will print out, and yeah, the length of name is equal to str.length. So that will print out 8, as we just counted that the length of my name is 8. If I print this out, system.out.print, the length is, then length of name. Right, so if I print this, if I run this, Java C class, right here, see it says the length is 8. So yeah, .length is really simple. It's very self-explanatory. It just finds the length. So let me change the string real quick. So let's make it, again, let's make it Sandra Sharma this time. So including my last name. And let's add this. Right. So we already know that my first name, it's length 8, right? Now let's count the number of, let's count the length of my last name. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the length in this case would actually not be 14, as you guys might be thinking, because like 8 plus 6 is 14. There's actually a space in the middle, right? So over here, there's a space, and that also counts in the length. So instead of 14, it will actually be 15. So that's a common error, especially when I started learning Java and learning these string functions like length. That's always been something that I forgot, like the space. So always keep the space in mind, and we'll also I'll also bring up how important spaces are for like the other 2 functions, substring and index of, but let's stick with this right now. So if I print out, so if I run this right now, it will print out, yeah, the length is 15, including the space, remember that. So that's .length. So now let's move on to .index of. So let's use the same example actually. Let's use the same string. My name, Sandra Sharma. So essentially, what the index of does is that it finds the index of a certain string or a certain character. So let me show you what I mean. So in Java, the indexes always start off with 0. Okay, so let's do this. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, this might look a little confusing. Oops. Yeah. I'm getting something in the chat. Hold on. Zoom is trolling us. Yeah, true. Okay. Yeah, so anyways, what I was saying is, oh, this is weird spacing. Okay, anyway, so these are indexes. So indexes is basically a number that correlates to a certain character. So For example, and also remember, as I mentioned before, in Java, indexes always start off with 0. So for the S in my name, first name, Santrip, the first S, or the only S, it will have the index of 0 rather than the index of 1. So keep that in mind. So S will have the index of 0, A will have the index of 1, N 2, and so on and so forth. So anyway, the main thing I want you guys to know is it always starts off with, that's like the most important. It always starts out with 0, not 1. So if I create another variable over here called int index, and then I do str.index of, let's say Sharma. It needs to be in double quotes, by the way, because it's a string. So if we look at these numbers right here, we could see that the index of Sharma will be 9. And also for index of, if it's a string, it's not going to find the index of each and every character of that string. So it's not going to print out 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It's only going to print out the first index. So in that case, it'll only print out 9 because it starts off with 9 right here, the first S. It's a little bit confusing, but if you guys have any questions, then of course ask. So if I print out, create another print statement right here, system.out.println, the index of the string is index. So as I mentioned before, it should print out, what was it, 9? Yeah, 9. So let's run this thing again. All right. So if I compile it, then run it, right here. See, it says the index of the string is 9. What is this? Okay, yeah. So that's index. Let me use another example just to make it more clear. So let's try to find the index of MA, which is right here. So let's go back to this where I wrote all the indexes. So over here you could see that the M is at 13. MA is 13 and 14. So again, it will find the first index, so it should print out 13. So instead of 9, it should print out 13. So let's run that. Compile, run, and there the index of the string is 13. Yeah. So that's index out, pretty simple. Now let's talk about substring. This is where it gets kind of hard to explain. It's very simple, but like it's kind of complicated at first. So essentially what substring does is that it identifies a certain part of a string. So let me that sounds weird, but let me show you at first. Let me show you using an example. So string. So actually, I'll use the same example. My name, Santrip Sharma. So if I do string partial is equal to str.substring from 0 to we'll just say 0 to 3. So let me explain what this does. So this 0 and 3 over here, those are indexes. So essentially what it will print out is the string from the index 0 to the index of 3. Now this is where it gets a little bit weird. So over here, let's go back. You see this right here. So 0, the index of 0 is right here, right? Which is S. And then the index of 3 is the T. So the thing is that it actually includes, like for 0, it includes the S, right? But like it doesn't include the T. It's like non-inclusive for the last one, for the last index. So in reality, it's not actually 0 to 3, but rather 0 to 2. So keep that in mind. So if I wanted to get like from just my first name, which is 0 to 7, right? Yeah, so in order to actually make it print out, it needs to be 0 to 8 because it's non-inclusive for the last index. I know that sounds kind of weird, but yeah, let me show you what I mean. So this should print out. So let's count. So 0 to 3 is 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3. But it disregards the 3, right? So then it will actually get rid of this T. So it will just print out SAN. So it should print out SAN. So let's see if it does. So system.out println. This is the partial string. Then partial. Yeah, so that should print out SAN. So let me show you. Compile it and then run. Right there. This is the partial string SAN. So just because it's a little bit tricky, let me go over another one. So let's see if I want to print out the last two letters of my first name. So that's P and T, right? So PT. So I will start off. Oh, this is really, a little bit hard to explain, but let me show you. So it's just a bunch of counting, right? So let's go back to here, the commented area where all the indexes are written. So P has an index of 6, and T has an index of 7, and we want to print out P and T. So we don't type in 6 and 7 to get P and T, but instead, since it's non-inclusive for the last character, we print out 6 and 6 to 8. So that will print out P and T. So this should print out PT. So let's try that out. Right there, PT. And if I make it 6 and 7, then it will only print out P, not P and T. Yeah. See, this is the partial string P, and it prints out P. So yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about for strings. And oh yeah, I see something in the chat. Why does Java take so long to run? Are you using a Replit? Like what are you using to run it? What are you using? Depends on what oh, for me? It doesn't take long. Did it take long? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess you have your own definition of long. It didn't take that long. I know for Replit it takes like really long. I don't know why. But yeah, yeah. All right. So anyway, that's all I really wanted to talk about today. Those are all the topics. And yeah, so again, if you guys have any questions, you can ask them now regarding what we talked about today. So I'll wait a minute, and you can throw your questions at me. Why you need to do Java C? So that's for compiling it, for compiling your code. Yeah. I believe that only works for Windows. I think Java C, from my knowledge, Java C is only like a thing on Windows. So yeah, that comes with the JDK package when you install Java. So if you watch my tutorial, you'll see all of it, like everything. Yeah. And then again, if you have a Mac, then just, yeah. Oh, it works on Mac terminal too. Okay, great. Then you can use my tutorial for both. So yeah. Any other questions? Yes. Yeah, you're welcome. So wait, before you guys leave, I have one more thing. Really quickly, just a minute. So, it's regarding homework. So again, I put more homework for this class, in the same doc. So if you go over here, hold on. Yeah. So if you go over here, go to Java, the Java curriculum area, click on this tiny URL. Then again, it will take you right here to the homework area. And there's homework for the second class right here. So yeah, you guys can try to do it. I would recommend it, but again, you don't need to. I'm not gonna check it, as I mentioned many times before. And it should take maybe like 10 minutes to do. So yeah. Yeah, but other than that, yeah, I think that's all. So you guys are free to leave from now on, and for the people who have questions, you guys can stay back, or you could unmute yourself. So yeah, thank you guys for coming. Hope to see you guys next class. Yeah, no problem. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right, I'm gonna end the meeting, guys. So goodbye.